Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is 11:38 p.m. on this beautiful Saturday evening going into Sunday. It is currently 64 degrees outside, and it's cooler than usual, and it's really, really nice out tonight. I just dropped off Tanya Jean. I hadn't seen her in a week because she went to the lake in Tennessee, Lake Norris, Tennessee. She went with her husband and her son and his girlfriend. And then she went with this other woman that she's been friends with for like 30 years, whose husband passed away several years ago, and her two daughters. And the one daughter's, I think both of their daughters' boyfriends came. And they had a great time. They went on the boat every day, and they jet skied, and they had a really good time. So anyway, I hadn't seen Tanya Jean in a week. And not only that, but the service down there is so bad, like on the lake, because I stayed on the lake, that I hadn't even talked to her in a week. She texted me like one day, but that was it. She texted me a picture using the swig cup that I got her. So we just went to go get a fountain, but neither one of us got fountains. We each got water. And I also, now I don't even want it, but I bought 2 candy bars. I bought these Snickers peanut butter candy bars that I'm completely obsessed with. I might put them in the freezer. Have you guys had these? They're so good. You know I love peanut butter and chocolate. And then I haven't even eaten any dinner tonight yet. This is new. I haven't tried this yet. This is the Reese's Crispy Crunch. I don't think I've ever tried it. And then, Tanya was so funny. I was like, I wanted those Harvest Cheddar Sun Chips, but they didn't have them there. And so I ended up getting these Frito flavored honey barbecue twists, which they're okay. And I was looking at the chips, and Connie goes, "You don't like salt and vinegar?" Or no, she goes, "Why don't you like salt and vinegar?" I didn't even, and this is how she and I talk to each other. I didn't even say like, I don't like salt and vinegar. She just goes, I'm like looking at the chips. She knows I don't like Doritos, I think, because I never get Doritos, and she always does, and I never want one. I'm not a big Dorito fan. Like, I'll eat them, like if that's all that's there, you know, and somebody brings a bag of Doritos. But my husband loves spicy nacho Doritos. I'm just not a big Dorito fan. So she was like, why don't you like salt and vinegar? And I said, I don't know why I don't like salt and vinegar. And then I was like, did I say something about salt and vinegar? She just kind of laughed. So anyway, she was telling me stories about the lake. So that was this evening. And then today, I slept in. And I went and did a review at Taco Bell. And then I went and got my coffee at Starbucks. And I drove around and I listened to my audiobook a little bit. I have like an hour and a half left of it. Yeah, I think I have like 96 minutes left to listen to it. Maybe less than that now. No, I have a lot less than that. I have like half of that. I have like 48 minutes left to listen to it, because I'm down to 2 hours, I think. Which it's like, I listened to it at 2 times 5 speed, and so that's 24 minutes an hour. I got it down to a science. So I got 48 minutes left of A Good Day for Chardonnay, and it's a really good book. I really, really like it, and I like all the characters, and it's kind of very similar to what happened in the first one, A Bad Day for Sunshine, but not. And because the mystery is different and stuff. But there's still romance and all of that in there, and ha-ha funniness, and I wanted to have it finished by today so that I could say that I had read 61 books, but I was just sitting there, I was like, should I vlog or should I listen to the book? And even if I listened to the book now, I wouldn't have finished it by midnight, so it just is what it is. So, I don't even know if I'm going to finish the rest of it tonight. I may listen to the rest of it tomorrow, and then pick my first book for August to read. Well, that'll have been my first book in August that I finished reading. And then I went and got stuff. I talked to a friend of mine on the phone for a long time today, and then while I was talking to her, I went to Kroger and I bought stuff to do a Peter Does Stuff video. I was doing like these TikTok hacks, Oreos and salsa. It was not good. Go check it out. And then I went to Five Below to get a Pez dispenser because I wanted to see if this Pez dispenser thing worked, and it totally didn't. So I was like, oh my God, look at the moon, but it's the hot air balloon that they have at Conner Prairie. And I thought it was the moon just sitting so low right there. So anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling very like science fiction-y for something next. I may read the new book by, is it Andrew Weir? Is he the one that wrote The Martian? And the last one was Artemis that he read, and he wrote, and he has a new one out. I might read that one next. I didn't read, did I read The Martian? I can't remember if I read it or if I just saw the movie. I didn't love the movie. With Matt, I think it was with Matt Damon. But Artemis, the book, I really, really liked, which was about this woman that lived on the moon. And the moon had like a city and everything to it. It was very kind of like Blade Runner-ish. I don't know what I'm gonna listen to next. I was gonna go home and watch a drag pageant tonight because Alex is at that event, that Rev thing. He went and bought a new suit today, black suit. He looks very nice tonight, very handsome. And he's with his friend, and they're talking about going out somewhere in Fountain Square afterwards. And so he's like, I might either go to Fountain Square. It's over in like 15 minutes, this Rev thing. So he's like, I might either go to Fountain Square, or he might go to a club to meet up with some people. He's like, he's not sure yet. So I'm like, do you? I'm gonna take a shower, put on my pajamas, and I'm gonna watch a drag pageant. And I wanted to watch the 2021 Entertainer of the Year. And so I was gonna buy the pageant, but that pageant does not come out until August 15th. I literally just looked when I was sitting in Tanya Jean's driveway, parking lot, I was gonna say. It should be a parking lot. They have so many cars and pickup trucks and stuff. Her husband's always buying pickup trucks. So anyway, so it doesn't come out until August 15th, and that was the one that I really wanted to watch. So I may watch the last one they had, which is from 2 years ago. I may watch that. We'll see. To watch the whole pageant is 8 hours, you guys. 8 hours. Like, that's a long time. Like, a long pageant. It's preliminary nights and everything, and but you get to see like the performers come and do like entertainment and stuff. I wish they had the Miss Continentals too, because I'd love to see a Miss Continental pageant all the way through. But there's always typically somebody that films it and puts it on YouTube, so I feel like I have seen Miss Continental a lot. And these are like professional grade videos that you watch on this Click Click expose. So anyway, I filmed a drama video, and then I did like these questions, like answering questions from 3 years ago that somebody recommended. I had fun doing that. And then I did a Peterisms video. I did my Peter Does Stuff video. And I was just getting all that stuff up and posting it. And then Tanya called and said that she was finally home. And I asked her if she wanted to get a fountain pop. And she said, sure. So that was that. And now life goes back to normal. And Alex has something that he has to do tomorrow morning. Not like early, but like at 11 or something. And it's for like 2 hours or something. Maybe it's later than that, because he said that he would meet me for brunch afterwards. So that's tomorrow, and then we'll get brunch. And I don't know if I'm gonna make videos tomorrow or not. It depends on if anything happens. And well, I mean, for the drama channel. The other channels, I might. We'll see. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. I might just want to relax and listen to an audiobook and take a nap. I don't know. So to see how my day goes tomorrow. I am hungry for brunch though tomorrow, I will say that. I don't know if I'm gonna get an omelet or if I'm gonna get a waffle. These are the hard decisions that I have to make that happen to me. Omelet or waffle? I don't know. So anyway, swept the front porch. I don't know why that's become like one of my favorite things, to sweep the front porch and make sure the plants are okay. And I love just sitting out there and drinking a cup of coffee or having a glass of water. I just love sitting on my front porch. Did that. Well, Alex was home all day too today, so we hung out a lot, and the dogs napped all afternoon. Tucker was super tired today. I don't know why. They sleep a lot anyway, but like when I'm up like making videos and stuff, they like follow me literally everywhere. And then they always sit like right down on the ottoman like while I'm filming videos and stuff. But when Alex is home, they tend to sleep a lot more because like he'll be upstairs like, you know, looking at stuff on his phone or watching shows and stuff. And so they'll just kind of like lay around with him with like the fan on. I think that they feel like calmer when we're both there. I know that sounds crazy, but I think they are calmer when we're both there. I got my new reading glasses today, which I've shown in like all of my videos. And from Caddis. The color is called Braxton, and it's like this bluish green that kind of fades to clear on the bottom. I love them. I'm like obsessed with them. I think those Caddis reading glasses have got to be like one of the greatest things I have found in the last couple of years. That I just like love and use all the time. I mean, I use my reading glasses all the time. It was so funny because Tiny got in the car and I was sitting in the driveway and I was reading comments. And she goes, well, look at you in your reading glasses. And I have these, look how dirty these are. Can you guys even see? They are so dirty. I don't think you can probably see this, but it's not showing how dirty they are. But these are like my Amazon $9 ones, and I just have them in the car because I wore them out one day or bring them. I kind of forget sometimes when I have reading glasses on, and I had them on for so long today that when I took them off, like I had a hard time kind of like readjusting my eyes for a second. It's funny, it doesn't, the other day didn't feel like a Thursday, it felt like a Friday, and today doesn't feel like a Saturday, it feels like a Sunday to me. I don't know why, but it does. I still have leftover pasta at home. I think I'm gonna upload that. I think I'm gonna heat that up when I get home. And I have a piece of pizza from last night. I have one piece of pizza left. So I think I'm gonna have my pasta and my piece of pizza. And it's gonna be my dinner when I get home. And then take a warm hot shower and use some good smelling lotion. Put on my pajamakins. That's what I call my jammers, my pajamakins. Put on my pajamakins and light candles on the front porch. And bring out, I'm like right now, I'm charging my AirPods so that I can listen to those with my, what do you call it? I was doing a cameo in my car last night, and I keep on forgetting when these cameos expire. Like, you have so many days to do them, and I check them, but I don't check them every day. And so then I'm always like, okay, remember that you have a cameo due like in a day. And I've let a couple of them expire, and I feel really, really bad. But last night, I knew that I had one due in like 8 hours, so I did it from my car when I got done like listening to my audiobook and stuff. And I was sitting in my driveway, and it was like, did I go in first and then come back out? Or did I? No, I was just like sitting in the driveway of my car. I've been listening to my audiobook. And it was like 5:30 in the morning. 5:38, I think exactly, honestly. I think because I set it in the Cameo what time it was. And I was sitting there and I was like, I set the Cameo thing, the phone right up here, and was doing it. It's 5:38 in the morning. Okay, all of a sudden, my neighbors, like, because you know, like we have those, what do you call them around us? Motion sensor lights. The motion sensor lights all of a sudden go up, and I'm looking at his front door, and nobody's coming out of his front door. And I'm like, well, maybe it was just like, you know, a squirrel or a bunny rabbit or something that set it off. And all of a sudden in my periphery vision, I saw somebody walking, and I mean, like, I was like in this Cameo, I was like, oh my God. And I look, and it's him walking his dog, and he was like, sorry, he's like, I'm sorry, and I'm sitting there flipping a fan, you know, and stuff. He probably thinks I'm crazy. My neighbors are so nice, so I didn't see them today, but I was going to explain to them what I was doing, so he wasn't like, they know I keep strange hours. We've had conversations about it. He especially thinks it's funny because he always gets up like when he's like, the dog wakes up really early, and so he takes him, because if he leaves him out, lets him out in the backyard, like he just like the dog like will howl at anything, and so he doesn't want him to wake up like the neighbors. It doesn't really bother us because our bedroom's in the front, so we can't hear it. But like the other people whose bedrooms are in the back, that he runs the up and down through the backyard, and I think he doesn't want him like barking and stuff because he's like, well, I don't want to wake up the neighbors. And I'm like, we don't hear it, it doesn't bother us, you know. So somebody is texting me, I think it's my husband. So anyway, so he takes him out at like, last night he said, was it last night or was it the night before I was talking to him? He goes, he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:10 in the morning or something like that. He was so tired. And I'm like, well, are you going back to bed? He's like, I hope so. But sometimes when I come in from vlogging and like listening to my audiobook, I'll like pull in the driveway because he always waves at me. They're super nice. We have the best neighbors, like across the street from us and like on either side. We just are so lucky. And, so he's always sitting at this little table in his window, and he's like on his computer, or he's like looking at stuff. I think I said this the other night, that he's real into that, like doing the genealogy, like the what do you call it, the ancestry tree. And he also looks up baseball cards. He collects baseball cards because he told me all about it one day. He said he would help me like try to find out stuff about my grandma if I wanted, but we've never really revisited that conversation or had that conversation again. But anyway, so when I pull in, like he's usually sitting there having a cup of coffee, and it's like 5 something, and he always waves at me when I get out of my car. I always wave at him. So the other day when he was telling me that the dog woke up so early, I said, well, what are you gonna do now? And he goes, well, hopefully we're gonna go back to sleep. He was like, oh, something about the dog barking out the back window. He was like, yeah, he goes, we can't have him sleeping in front of the windows if we don't have the curtains closed, because he'll start howling in the middle of the night like he sees like a rabbit or something out there. And I'm like, oh really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, if he sees anything move out there, he starts barking like crazy. I think my husband sent me a picture. Anyway. Boom, 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 boom. Talked to Melissa today. She was gonna go to Jason, we're gonna go to this thing that Alex went to tonight. They had gotten offered tickets, but I'm gonna pull in here and see what Alex is texting me. But they had a wedding to go to instead, so they went to that instead. Come on. Yeah, he sent me some kind of attachment, some picture. Oh, it's a video. It's people dancing at the track. Because the thing is on the track, and so then they all dance on the track at the end of the night. It's on the Indy 500 track, which is cool. Yeah, he's having a good time. I think it should be ending soon. Oh my gosh. I was talking to this woman at the gas station last night that I've gotten friendly with. And is that when I stopped vlogging last night? Was it the gas station? I was talking to her a little bit because she was standing outside when I was pumping my tank. And I know her because I go in there, you know, and get waters and stuff when I'm like at that gas station. And so she always works thirds. And she was telling me that her daughter starts school next week, elementary school. And I was like, oh, there's a bag in the middle of the road, my lord. And I was like, big plastic bag. And she said something about her being in 5th or 6th grade, I can't remember, but I said she starts next week, and she's like, yeah, she starts on Wednesday. I was like, I can't believe that kids start so early. She's like, well, this is late. A lot of kids have already started. Like I said, I know my nephews start, like, I think on the 10th. Still out here tonight. It is always so dark out here in the country. I mean, there's like little housing divisions, but then the rest of it is like, once you get past the housing divisions, it's like all just like country out here. It's so pretty. But could be very scary at the same time. I was thinking about this last night when I was driving around listening to my audiobook. There's this area out here where it's like, well, I'll tell you what it is when I come up on it. It's not cornfields, I don't think, but it's something else, and it's just like this field of it. Because to the right over here is cornfields, and most of the cornfields in Indianapolis, well, this isn't that high. There's a lot of cornfields in Indianapolis right now that are really, really high. And maybe this isn't corn. What is this over here? Well, it's something, but it's not corn that's growing over there. But I saw this, and it was probably like if I stood in the field, it would probably come up to about here on me, maybe taller. When I get up here, I'll tell you what it is, because I can't remember. Maybe it is corn. But anyway, I thought, there was like a part of me that was like, how fun would that be to just... This is where I watch too much true crime stuff and read too much true crime. I was like, how fun would it be to like, just like walk through that field, you know? I thought to myself, you know, other than animals, you know, being out there, snakes or whatever, which would probably, like, if you're walking through a field, they probably run from you, don't you think? It's not like there's some murderer that's standing out there. It's coming up right over here. I actually want to smell it, smell the air. It smells so good outside. Here it is. The air does smell good. It's right up here on the corner, I think. Is this it? It's gotta be, because I'm coming up to the where I turn. It was right here. I don't know if you can't see it. It's just like brush and stuff, you know? And I was like, it would be just like to walk through that field would be so fun. But like, I would be terrified to do that, especially at night. And I was like, there's nobody out there that's gonna murder you. You know what I mean? There's literally nobody out there. And it was like, when I was watching Nomadland, the Frances McDormand movie, there's like parts of it where she's sleeping in her van at night, or she's sitting, like there was parts where she was just like sitting out in the middle of nowhere, like in her chair, and I thought, God, that looks so peaceful, you know? Just to be out in the middle of nowhere with just the stars and the moon, you know? If you're from a city and you've never been like way out in the country, like this isn't even way out in the country. I'm talking out in the country. We have lots of areas that are way out in the country in Indiana. This is on the outskirts, but this isn't the country. The stars are so bright. Have you ever been way out in the country when like the stars just like light up the whole sky and they feel like they're right there? You know? But I was sitting there and I was watching that, and I thought to myself, I'd be terrified to be way out there just sitting in a chair having a cup of coffee. I mean, it sounds great, But like all of this stuff that's programmed into my head that I'm like so afraid of because of TV shows I've watched and movies I've watched and stuff I've read, I'd be like scared to death to be out there by myself. Isn't it interesting how irrational fear keeps us from doing things in our lives and experiencing things? You know, it's like my fear of sharks, not like I'm dying to get scuba dive or, you know, whatever tomorrow, but there's a lot of things I wouldn't do, like cage dive for one. There's a lot of things I wouldn't do because of seeing Jaws. I've never water skied. I don't like to tube. And I can't even remember the last time that I tubed. And I grew up having a boat, like at my dad's house, where we, you know, I could take people out tubing and stuff like that. When I was in high school, I did. They would water ski and tube and stuff. We had skis and all of that. I'd go tubing. Not me. I don't care. Not even on a lake. The idea of water skiing reminds me of Jaws 2, where that woman's water skiing and then she gets eaten alive, and then the woman that's running the boat, you know, the boat blows up and the shark's attacking the boat and stuff. No, ma'am. No, thank you. Somebody had recommended to me, I may have bought it on Audible, but I don't think I did. Somebody recommended to me to read the book about the USS Indianapolis, because they were like, I always talk about how like my biggest fear is sharks, but I'm also very interested in sharks as well, right? And somebody said you should read about the USS Indianapolis. It's a great book. Well, I looked it up, and there's like 4 books. I mean, there's probably more than that, but there's 4 like bestsellers about the USS Indianapolis. One of them is called the USS Indianapolis. The other one's called something else. And I don't know which one is the one that somebody suggested to me. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you had suggested it to me, will you let me know which book it was? Because I would like to read, you know, something about the USS Indianapolis. It's weird to me when I think that I have been there, you know, that I was on that boat. That was when my dad and I went to Pearl Harbor when I was in Hawaii. I should ask my dad how old I was. I always think I was like 10, but maybe I was younger than that. I think I was like 10 though. And I remember we went with another family, because we went with another doctor, and it was a medical convention, and it was this other doctor and his wife and their son, who was probably 2 or 3 years older than me. And I remember like they were like, my dad and I wanted to, like, my dad wanted to go and do stuff like like rent a Jeep and go drive around the island, and they were like very conservative. Like, they didn't want to do that. Like, they wanted to stay at the hotel, and they wanted to do this and they wanted to do that. And I can remember my dad like later saying something to me about like, we never got to, I think my dad and my stepmom went to Hawaii a couple times actually, but my dad was like, he didn't get to see Hawaii the way that he wanted to back then. But I do remember we we flew into Honolulu, and I can remember like having seen like Fantasy Island and movies and stuff about like the Hawaiian Islands, and I thought we were going to get the lays when we landed and all that kind of stuff, and we didn't get all that. And I remember I bought a hula skirt that was made out of plastic, and I was obsessed with that. And we went to Waikiki Beach, and there were a lot of people surfing there. I remember Honolulu being very much like a big city on the ocean. Like, it was kind of like my first experience, because I hadn't been to like Miami, and it was like just a big city on the ocean. Like, I don't remember being like that wowed by Honolulu. And I remember we stayed in some like high-rise hotel, and that's all I really remember about it. I remember it being really hot, is what I remember. And I don't know what time of year we went. I think it was around spring break time, because I can remember like missing extra school. And then at some point we went from there. I have to ask my dad about this. I don't really have a whole lot of memories about this trip. At some point we went from there to Maui, and I don't know where we stayed, but I know that there was another doctor that was like friends of theirs, of my dad and this guy that was staying at that Kaanapali Hyatt that had all the animals and it had peacocks and stuff like that. Because I can remember we went there for the day and I was just like it stopped. I was like mesmerized by like the peacocks and the birds, and it was beautiful, beautiful hotel. And I don't remember where we stayed. I feel like we stayed at like condos that were like set back. They were like on the ocean, but it was like a walk to get to the ocean. I don't know, and I feel like they were condos or something. And I remember, this is one thing I do remember, and whenever I say this, like I've never had anybody comment on the video when I've talked about this in the past, so I don't know what this is called, but can somebody let me know? I remember we went to this beach, and it's like a really famous beach in Hawaii. I may be remembering all of this wrong, honestly, but it was like this little inlet, and there was all these trees, and then you came through the trees to this beach, and I feel like maybe the beach was like, it was like volcanic rock, it was like a black beach or something, excuse me, like black sand. And I remember we snorkeled there, and it was like this reef, and there were unbelievable fish and as we snorkeled. I mean, it was just unbelievable. It was like all these parrotfish and barracuda, and it was just gorgeous. It was just all these fish in this area, right? And you could just snorkel in this reef area that was like, you could literally walk from the beach out right there and it dropped, and you just was in this gorgeous reef. It was gorgeous. But to the right, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. I told you, it's gorgeous. But to the right, there was like, if you walked out, there was this thing, and I swear, and I don't know how I remember it this way, I could be completely wrong, but they called it like the toilet bowl or something like that. And it was like this water would all come out, and then it would come flushing out again. And it was like, I feel like people got in it, and it would take them down and like whisk them into the reef, and then it would come back out again or something. I don't know why I remember that. People were doing something in this toilet bowl thing, but like with the tide would like pull out, or maybe it was, we were just told that by like the guide that was there or whatever. The guide, not the guy, the guide that was there. And it was like, maybe that's what happened and nobody got in it. I don't know, but it was something about this toilet bowl thing. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? What beach that is or where it's at? I just remember Hawaii being very touristy when I was there. And I can remember like buying macadamia nuts. And it just was very like, where we were, all the places that we went, I just remember it being really touristy. I feel like one thing we did was we did take like a tour of like a sugarcane factory. I feel like we did something like that because my dad hates stuff like that, and I feel like there were a lot of things that we had to do because we were with like this other family. And I do know that at the end of the trip, like I think they left before we did, and so we had like 2 or 3 days where it was just us, and my dad got to do some things he wanted to do. But the reason I remember that beach and snorkeling, and this is where this was the beginning of me never eating fish. So whatever age this was, I never really liked fish to begin with. I didn't like the smell of it. I didn't like the taste of it, so I never really ate fish. And when I was growing up, my parents ate a lot of fish. Like when we went to restaurants, my dad would get like a piece of fish, like salmon or something like that. My mom made orange roughy in the kitchen all the time. I could not stand the smell of it. I thought it stank. I thought it smelled the whole kitchen up. I hated it. I remember the nights that she would make orange roughy, and I'd be like, it was like one of her favorites, and I'd be like, oh my God, it stinks in here, Mom. And I didn't even like tartar sauce. I thought tartar sauce tasted like fish, which is so funny because I ended up liking that horsey sauce later, which is like horseradish sauce, but it's like people say it's kind of similar, but it's not. I didn't even like tartar sauce because people would eat like fish with tartar sauce. I don't know. And I can remember like eating fish one time and getting little small bones, and I was like, ugh, like I hated it. What's so funny about this? So anyway, the memory that I have is my dad and I went to this restaurant, and I can see him sitting there, and he got mahi-mahi, and I don't know how I remember that, but I do. And he really wanted me to try it. And somehow I connected the fish to the fish we had seen at the reef, and I couldn't do it. Like, I literally could not do it. And I can remember my dad just really wanted me to try this, and I was like, There was somewhere else that we had gone, and my dad had, it might have been on that trip, was throwing, this happened when my dad and my mom and I actually, we all went to Marathon Key, Florida, and I can remember my dad and I taking balls, like yeast balls of like bread balls, you know, and throwing them into the ocean because like parrotfish would eat them. I do remember that. I also remember something weird. There was like some horrible accident that we like sat there forever and like somebody was killed, and I can remember driving by that on that trip because we like road tripped it from Indianapolis to Marathon, Florida, which is probably like 25 hours. But I also remember like an alligator getting hit or something. I don't know why I remember that. I have like the weirdest memory about something. That would have been when I was really young, because that was before my parents got separated. So I would have been really young when that trip happened, like 6 or 7, 6 maybe. But I also feel like when we were in Hawaii, we like fed the parrotfish balls of dough as well, like bread dough, balls of bread. I do remember in Honolulu, my dad trying to surf. Like that was like one thing he really wanted to do, and so he like tried to surf on a surfboard. And I can remember I had like a little surfboard out there too, and I was with him, and I was like, he wouldn't let me go out real far, but I was just like surfing like right off the beach, you know, on like the little waves and stuff with my paddle board or whatever, my wave board or whatever. But I remember he like tried to like go out there and surf and like get up on the board. I don't remember if he did or not, but I remember like he did that. It's weird to me, it's just like one trip that I just don't remember a whole lot about. I must have been really young. I'll have to ask him how old I was, because maybe I just was super young. I don't remember the flight being long or any of that kind of stuff. Because Tanya and I were talking about that the other day, because she kind of wants to go to Hawaii, I think. And she was saying something to me about, like, we have a friend of ours that lives in Oakland, and she was like, well, you can fly from here to California, and then you can stay overnight, and then, like, mix the flight up, and then, like, the next day, like, fly to Hawaii. And she said she looked it up, and it's only, like, 5.5 hours or 7 hours or something from California to Hawaii. And I think that was Maui, actually, because she was looking at, I don't know which island she was looking at. If I went back now, I don't think I'd go to Oahu. I think I would go to, like, Kauai or Maui or something. And I'd probably, like, rent a house and stay kind of, like, you know, off the beaten path. I've heard it's beautiful. Who were I just talking to that just got a friend? It was somebody that I knew, and they said they just got back from Hawaii, and that it was really, really expensive, but not expensive. Oh, I've heard that. I've heard Hawaii's really expensive. They said it was really hot. Who was telling me that? And I just met, who else did I just know that got married? And they went to, they were getting married, and they were going to Hawaii on their honeymoon. Who just told me that? I feel like that just happened like a day or two ago. I don't know. Anyway. But Tanya was telling me that, like, the flight from California to Hawaii was, like, 5.5 or 7 hours. And I'm like, yeah, and you're over the ocean the entire time. Like, that's what freaks me out about that. I don't know if I could do that or not. I mean, I'm sure I could. I don't like flying over the ocean now, in all honesty. Even if it's just for like a half an hour, you know, going to Cancun, because you're not over the water that long going to Cancun. Even like when we fly into Miami, they like fly out over the ocean and they fly back in, and I don't like that. I know, right? It didn't used to ever bother me. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know, I just don't like it. I gotta start looking at what I want to do for my birthday next year and where I want to go. I was looking at places for maybe October if we go to Florida. I had so much fun just like renting a house. Like that whole week was so much fun for us, and it was like nothing deep. You know, we went to the grocery store, and then we basically, it was like not warm enough to go to the beach, so we basically just stayed at the house the whole time. And I think like I would do it differently going back. I would like, I mean, we had such a nice house. I actually looked to see if that same house was available, and it's not. But there's so many houses like from Miami to like West Palm, that like that area, I mean, that are just absolutely beautiful, and the pools are beautiful, and it's like not super expensive, where I just think that that would be such a fun trip, you know, for Alex and I, just to get groceries for a week and just watch TV shows and, you know, have little romantic evenings and just relax. It was just a really nice trip. It was good for us. It was a good trip for us. I need to talk to him more seriously about that, because I kind of threw it out one night. He's like, I'm in. We were talking about trips with, like, I think it was Melissa and Jason, and I said, well, I would want to go somewhere in October, maybe. I have fun staying at hotels and stuff like that, too, but, like, getting the house was just, it was different. I don't know. It was just, it's kind of our place for the week, you know? It was really fun. I'd like to do that again. That bag was in the middle of the road. Now it's inside. Somebody must have ran over it. I gotta figure out a time to visit Mel, too. And that house that I rented last year when I went to go visit her, that was fun. That was a blast out there. I do know that Alex is going to a music festival in Chicago Labor Day weekend. So I keep thinking like maybe I would go out there and visit her during Labor Day weekend. But I don't know. I got a lot of stuff between like, I got a lot of stuff planned in August and September, so I'll just have to see. And I need to talk to her too about like, I mean, Mel can't just take, you know, time off. She's got to kind of know ahead of time. And I think we had talked about maybe like me flying in there on like a Friday, and then wherever house I get, like just getting it all ready and getting the groceries and stuff, and then me coming to pick her up, and then her staying like Friday and Saturday and me flying out Sunday. I think that's what we talked about doing. That way she wouldn't have to miss any work. But like she doesn't get done until like 6 or something anyway, and I'm not sure that she would really want to go straight from that to like, you know, hanging out. I don't know, I need to get online and just kind of look and see what that looks like. But we had such a great time last time when we did that though. So much fun. Just put our pajamas on, sit around, drink coffee and talk, and it was really fun. Make some videos and all that. I remember that one night we went to, was it In-N-Out Burger or something like that? One of those places, Whataburger, that I hadn't had ever before in a long time or whatever. It was like the Friday or Saturday night. I can remember it was so funny because there was like a bunch of high school kids in there that were like, you know, hanging out with like the people that worked there and whatever. And just always funny being like in a different city that like for you it feels so completely different, but like to everybody else it's just home, you know? I kind of wish they would come out with the dates of when our high school reunion is going to be, if they're going to have it next year. Because if they're going to have it next year, I don't want to miss my next reunion. And if they do it over my birthday, like I'm totally fine going somewhere for my 50th at a different time, but I don't want to miss my next high school reunion. And the last high school reunion that they had was my birthday weekend. That house is so pretty over there. I don't know, sometimes I think like maybe I don't want to go do something really extravagant. Maybe I just want to go to Vegas or Miami or something for my birthday. You know, and just go for like 4 or 5 days and just to go somewhere that I really, really love and I'm comfortable with, you know. And other times I think, well, maybe I'd like to go somewhere and, you know, just have to see. Just see what we can afford too. Like, that's a big part of it. I need to call my cousin Caroline. She just got back into town too. They, so when my cousin was growing up, she and her parents, and like, I think it was something ridiculous, like 12 or 15 other families. It was a lot of families. Eight or nine families, I don't know how many. But they all went to this small town in Michigan. And I remember we went there one year and stayed with them. That was the only time. And I actually have these really great pictures of my mom and I from going to Michigan that year. That would have been when I was young too, because it was my mom and my dad and myself. Me and my mom and dad. And but they used to go to this really small place in Michigan, and it was like on Lake Michigan, but it also had like a little lake. Like, it was like walking distance to the beach, but it was also like it had its own like little lake, right? And there were cabins that were built all around this little lake. And so they would go, and every summer during the same week, like all of these families that knew each other, and like they were all friends in Indianapolis, they would go up there, and they would each family would get like one of the cabins, you know, for the week, or if they were a big family, like 2. And they did it like the entire time my cousin was growing up. They went up there, and I mean, it's like a total tradition. Like, until Caroline was like 30 or something, and then one of the families ended up building a house up there. And so my aunt and uncle, and like Caroline and Mike and David and stuff, they would go visit them, but that was like in South Haven. And so they hadn't been back to this town in years. And Caroline and this other family that has like 4 daughters and all of their kids, and so Caroline and Mike and David and his girlfriend, they all just went up there for like a week. And they hadn't done it in like years, and Caroline was so excited, and she posted pictures of like her and her mom and dad when they were there, when they were like, you know, when she was a kid and stuff like that. And I was just so happy for her that she got to do that. And she acts like she doesn't like to reminisce much about stuff, but I think she does more than she would admit. But anyway, so they went up there and they got cabins at the same place. It's still there and everything. Isn't that cool? It's crazy to think they did that for like 30 years. I used to be so jealous. Because my mom, I'd be like, where's Aunt Kathy and Uncle Dave and Caroline, Mom? Oh, they went to Michigan for the, you know, it's their week in Michigan that they go to every year. I always wanted to go. I don't know why we didn't. It was probably my aunt's week away from my mom. Oh my gosh. And they would rent the same cabin too. Like, each family would get the same cabin every year. How cool is that? I'm like such a creature of comfort though, that like that sounds like real appealing to me, whereas I think to other people it probably doesn't sound real appealing. They're like, no, go to the same cabin every year on some small lake. I know, but I think it sounds kind of fun. It's kind of like family camping, you know, like not like family camping, but like summer camp for a family, you know. I think it sounds kind of cool. My ankle hurts, I don't know why. It doesn't hurt, but it's just kind of like sore, like I need to pop it. Pop it. Pop it real good. Bum, 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 bum. Anyway. Well, listen, you guys, I think I'm going to get off here now and listen to my audiobook a little bit on my way home. And then I'm going to go home and take a shower and put on my pajamakins, like I said. And I am going to watch a drag pageant for a little bit. So, excited about that. I may end up finishing my audiobook tonight, but I don't think so. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here now. So, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope you guys are having a magically amazing Sunday. I hope you're getting refreshed and rejuvenated and renewed for the week ahead, and refreshed, most importantly. And enjoying your day and being relaxed and taking a nap or watching some Netflix or TV or eating some good food, getting your clothes ready for the week ahead, making your lists for the week ahead, doing something that'll make you happy today, comforted. And yeah, if you're getting ready to go on a trip, I hope you have a great trip. If you're coming home from a trip, I hope you had a great trip. If you're not going on a trip, well, I hope you had a great weekend. And here's to a great week coming soon. And I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! And since I didn't do it yesterday, I had to do it tonight. So here you go for all of you out there that need to hear it, or want to hear it, or don't even care. Here you go. What? If nobody else has told you this today, I love you, because if nobody else told you this today, I love you. One more, I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!